everyone, I'm Kristen the Cross Stitching Runner and welcome to my channel. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning viewers, and if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in, and we have come to the end of Christmas in July, Christmas themed stitching, and we are about halfway through the Olympics. Not that the Olympics has had much of an influence on my stitching, but I have definitely had a lot of fun watching some of the different sports, most specifically the equestrian, whether it be the dressage, the show jumping, or cross country. And I definitely love the cross country and show jumping because for me, it's that excitement, that edge of the seat of, oh my gosh, are they going to make it within the time limit, or are they going to be able to do a clear round as well? And just being in absolute amazement of how tall some of the show jumps are and how big and solid a lot of those cross country jumps are as well. And there are times when I miss horse riding and going over show jumps or doing a little bit of cross country in terms of jumping over some of the logs or trees or whatever that have fallen down in the paddock. But I think with the Olympics, we all get that greater appreciation of just the level of training that the horses and riders go through to be able to ride at that level. And I'm not discounting the dressage component at all. And I wish I was able to be somewhat decent at dressage. And I get flashbacks to my pony club days of going to gymkhanas and making an attempt to do a dressage test or participate in a riding class. And the dressage tests especially I found super stressful because I probably didn't memorize the tests as well as what I could have, let alone practice them anywhere near as much as what I should have. And whenever I've gone to do a dressage test, regardless of what what elements were part of the test, noting that I was very much at the novice beginner level for dressage, that when it came time to actually do the test and get judged on it, there were so many times during that test where I'd be like, oh crap, I think I've just completely forgotten what the test is. What on earth is it that I've got to do? And I feel lucky that I was able to complete the tests, albeit not great, because with the aim of dressage, especially with your final score, the aim is to have the lowest score possible. And if it was the other way around, like when you think about school days and thinking about how you want to do really well on an assignment, and that you want to get like 95% or some really high percentage. I always like that with dressage, but the thing is, when I get like the 65, 75% on a dressage test, that's not very good at all, sadly, because there were lots and lots of mistakes within that test. So yeah, that's where it's been really good watching the dressage and all of the equestrian events. And I'm now looking forward to watching some of the athletics, especially when it comes to running, and just my interests and such with running, especially the longer distances, when we start looking at like the 5 kilometers or the 5,000 meters, 10,000 meters, even through to the marathons, because I can definitely appreciate just how much time and effort goes into training for any of those events, let alone these elite people. aiming for a gold medal or some kind of medal, whether it be the silver or bronze as well. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, with all that rambling on about the Olympics and all the rest, let's actually get into the stitching and what I've actually been doing since we last caught up. Just before I get into sharing with you the stitching I've done, I do want to acknowledge the lighting and such that's going on. I'm down at Malure Bay at the moment, and it is a beautiful, beautiful winter's day. It almost feels like it could be, say, early spring, if not autumn, in terms of it being sunny, there not being much cloud, and also not much of a wind either. It was a really cool start to the day, but by the same token, considering how cold it can get in winter time at Malure Bay, it is a glorious day. And I do have the curtains across the window just a little bit, but like, it's all good. It's all good. It's nice, really nice being down here. It is a nice change of scenery. And with that said, let's get into the stitching because I have another finish and I feel comfortable with the amount of Christmas themed stitching that I've done in terms of the cards and Christmas themed stitching that I will eventually need to finish come December, and being able to share my stitching with my teammates, and it's going to be cool. It's going to be all good. The challenge will be the finishing though. There will be lots of searching on Pinterest and looking at other videos and such on different ways in which I could finish my stitching. So the most recent finish that I have to share with you is this one, and I can't quite remember the name of it. I think it might be Pug for Christmas or something along those lines. That said, it is designed by Shannon Christine Designs, and I have been 99% true to the chart in the sense that I have not made any changes or minimal changes to the colours, which I think has been quite surprising and strange considering the creative liberties I tend to take with other charts, especially with the next one that I have to share with you. But this one I might turn into a card, but not 100% certain as yet because I think it's a bit too big to turn it into an ornament that would be hanging off a Christmas tree. I feel like it it may not work. However, this was stitched on 14 count black Ada, and yeah, I think it came up an absolute treat. I think the slight creative liberties that I took with this chart was the pug's eyes. I think I used DMC 415 for something very similar to that colour when it should have been DMC 3799. But hey, I think it still looks pretty good. The aim is just for it to have the dark eyes, and I'm actually quite impressed with the French knots that I've done for the pug's eyes as well. I'm definitely proud of myself for the improvements I've been able to do over time for French knots because they don't always work out the way that we need them to. So the next finish for the Christmas in July stitching was Islay, and this had been the first finish that I'd done for this year for the Christmas in July. And this one, yeah, it's all cool. It was stitched on 14 count Ada, and it's one of those types of Ada where it was printed on one side and just at a blank on the other. I think it was designed by Noob Cross Stitch, as in N for Nelly, double O, B for Bob, X marks a spot, Stitch. Okay, so this one is in my Santa era, and I did do some creative liberties with this one in terms of some of the colours that I used for this, and I've had a mental blank on who the designer was for this. I stitched this on, I believe it to be maybe 28 count linen. I'm really happy with how this has turned out. Okay, the next finish with this is a Shannon Christine Designs called Baking Spirits Bright, and I took a lot of creative liberties with this one in terms of the colours, and I also included these two treats here that I think are meant to be macarons, and I'm not going to unpick these. They're just going to have to be as they are, and this was stitched again on 28, maybe 25 count linen. And this has also got fringe knots in it, and I'm really, really proud of how they turned out. The next finish for the Christmas in July stitching is Shannon Christine Designs, and this one I am super proud of. And I did take some creative liberties with this in terms of the choice of beads, and I also made some mistakes in terms of where I did some of the stitching. So I needed to do some creative liberties with where some of the back stitch is, but I am super, super chuffed with how this has turned out. And it was stitched on 14 count black Ada, and I think it was the best decision because it has really made the colours on this piece stand out. And yeah, I think I'll probably frame this one. It's going to be tough to hand this over to my teammate, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end because for me, when I know that I don't want to part with a piece, for me that says that I'm really proud of the stitching that I've done on it and the that I'm really happy with how it's turned out. So I really hope my teammate enjoys and appreciates this particular one. Okay, so that's all the new stitching that I did during this round of Christmas in July and the finishes that I did. The next few pieces that I have to share with you are finishes that I have finished over the last few years, and they are pieces that I'm going to eventually like frame up or somehow turn into cards or things that people can hang off, whatever it is they want to hang off in their home or have on their desk as a bit of decoration. Now, with a lot of these, they're all sort of the same because they're out of the cross stitch Christmas cross stitch magazine thing that is the issue from 2018. I can't remember the exact number, but it is one that you have seen me talk about and use so much when it's come to a lot of the Christmas stitching because it has got so many cool designs in it. And I'm also rambling at the moment while I'm trying to think of the name of the designer for these. Shannon Condon? Something very similar. Condon is the surname I'm feeling 90% certain on. And anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so Jingle All the Way. This one I stitched ages and ages and ages ago, and this was definitely stitched on 28 count linen, perhaps even weave. It looks like an even weave just because of the bit of fabric that I'm seeing, and this was using DMC variegated, two different variegated threads, and with this one, I remember when I was stitching it that with the border especially, rather than just keeping the fabric around this way, I would actually sort of rotate around as I was stitching. And yeah, from a distance, it doesn't look anything different, but from a stitching perspective, if you are taking a closer look at it, then you will start to notice that the direction of my stitches are just a little bit different. And this is just the back of it. I've mounted it a little bit on some cardboard, and I've used some double-sided tape to hold down the fabric. And I know that some people might be going, oh my God, Kristen, you really should not have done it like that. You really should have done lacing and all that jazz. And yeah, I probably should have. But that's for you and I to disagree on or talk about, whatever. It is what it is, and I might still lace a bit of it, but I don't think the lacing is going to make too much of a difference. And the double-sided tape is actually holding pretty good. It is acid-free double-sided tape from when I went through a phase of doing scrapbooking, and a lot of the stuff that I do have is good quality stuff. So I know that everything will be okay. And I will probably back this with some quilting fabric that I've got. And I don't know if I'll frame it, but I might, if I back this with some quilting fabric that I've got in mind as part of the putting the fabric on the back there, I might attach something up here that the intended recipient can then hang off a door handle or whatever it is they're wanting to do. And speaking of Jingle All the Way, as a comparison, this is another finish that I did, I think earlier this year, if not end of last year. So as a comparison, this one was stitched on 14 count Aida, this one was on linen. And we can see, I guess, a bit of a slight difference with the sizing. This was stitched 2/2, 2/1, and variegated thread all the way for this. And I think it was a dinky dye thread that this Jingle All the Way on the blue Aida was done. And I am really happy with how this turned out. This is really cool. And when I was stitching Jingle All the Way with this variegated thread, I made a conscious effort of trying to sort of balance out where some of the colours were placed because of the different points of where the thread would run out. And I think it's turned out pretty good. So this piece, I know exactly who I'm giving this one to. She's a very colourful person in my team, and colourful in all the positive ways that you can think of. And I'm fumbling over my words because I just love this so much, and I'm just super proud of how it's turned out. And I just want to be sure that I do this piece justice with how I finish it off. Okay, now with this next one, I think I finished ages ago, and it was stitched on the same fabric as the Ready Pink Jingle All the Way. So it was stitched on 28 count linen, and I might finish this in a similar way to the Ready Pink Jingle All the Way, where I might back it onto some cardboard or something similar to that, and then have it backed also with some snowflake themed quilting fabric or something like that, and then have again maybe some plaited DMC or something that I'll attach at the top that the intended recipient can hang off a doorknob. They can whatever they want really. It is small enough where I could potentially turn it into a card. My card making skills need to be improved, and I don't want to F it up. I really want to do this one justice because I do love the colours that I've done with this, where it is a variegated DMC blue, variegated DMC green, and then one of the metallic blues of the DMC range. Okay, so the next finish is, I think a finish that I did last year, perhaps December. So this one is Let It Snow, and this one is actually a combination of two different charts, I think. So let it snow, the actual words, let it snow. I had stitched, I think last time in June when it was the Fight MND motor neuron disease charity that was happening during the June long weekend for the AFL season. And I then used variegated threads and such for the snowflakes that we see. And this one I think is a bit big for a card. So I'm not quite sure exactly how I'm going to finish this one. This was stitched on what looks to be 14, if not 18, count navy blue Ada, and I am chuffed with how this one's turned out, and not 100% sure as to which one of my teammates will receive this one, but again, I just hope that all of my teammates enjoy the things that I've stitched for them, because it's something where we put a lot of time and effort into stuff, and I know that cross stitch isn't everyone's cup of tea, which is okay. I just hope that yeah, it's appreciated, because I think that's at the end of the day what we all are hoping for, that with the time, effort, and love that we've put into all our projects, that the intended recipient can appreciate what we've done. So that's that for the stitching for the gifts that will eventually get finished for my teammates. I do have a couple of other pieces of Christmas themed stitching to update you with, and the first update is to do with Meowie Christmas. So Meowie Christmas is a custom crafts design or chart where it's artwork by Jenny Newland slash Applejack Art Partners, designed by Diane Allaire. And this is one of the first, and I think I've mentioned this in other catch-ups that we've had, where this is the first full coverage chart that I've stitched that is going to have backstitch in it, which is going to be interesting. Now, with all the stitching that I'm doing so far, I have started up in the corner here where we see the star and a bit of the Christmas tree. And I'm stitching this on 14 count Ada, and this is where I'm at. It is going to take me quite a while to complete it, but I'm not worried about that. For me, it is about the enjoyment of the process and enjoying seeing this project come to life. And this particular Ada I had bought from the Mogo, a shop in Mogo. It is predominantly a quilting shop, but it does stock some cross stitch, embroidery themed things. Anyway, I'm enjoying this so far, and I'll probably put some work into this come December. The next one that I have to share with you, and I don't have the cover page with me at the moment, but this I think is one of the Merry Christmas charts from Tilton Crafts, and this is one that I thought I had lost, and I restarted it on some different fabric, but I've come back to stitching this original one, and this is definitely 28 count even weave, no linen. I apologize, on linen, which means that those other Jingle All the Way and Let It Snow Christmas pieces, they must have been 25 count, because this one definitely is a smaller count, and I'm stitching this 2/2. This one is definitely a labour of love. I'm enjoying this one, even though I haven't spent as much time on it as I would like. It is a full coverage piece, and it means that I won't be using up all of the fabric, but for once I know that I have plenty of fabric and I'm not going to run out. So that's a really nice feeling for many of the pieces that I'm working on, that if you've been around long enough, and especially with some of the next few pieces I have to share with you, you'll know that measuring out how much fabric I need for a piece is not one of my strong suits. But anyway, it's by the by. With the last two pieces that I did share with you, I haven't actually kept track of how many stitches I've put in or which days I've worked on it or anything like that. I do know it's been a little while since I've spent some time on those two pieces because of the next few projects that I have to share with you. Okay, so before I jump into some of the regular stitching that I've been doing, about 24 hours or longer has passed. So I am back in Wollongong. It's Sunday afternoon and I'm tired. I went out to dinner with some of my family last night and I'd stayed up a few hours past my bedtime and my quality of sleep has been impacted. So I hope I can still bring the energy that we need for this second part of the catch up that we have for cross stitch and what I've been doing aside from some of the Christmas in July themed stitching. So the first piece that has had a lot of my attention for the end of July, early August has been stitching my name tag for an in-person stitching retreat that I'll be participating in about mid to late September, and I'm looking forward to it. I know that I don't have the enthusiasm right now, but I know that as I get closer and when I have a little bit more sleep under my belt, I'm definitely going to be bouncing off the walls full of energy and excitement for the event. So, what I was doing with the initial thought with the name tag, it needs to fit in roughly this sized kind of name tag, and I got all excited thinking, okay, I've got a rough idea of measurements, that kind of thing, before I'd received the name tag holder. And when I actually started designing the name tag, found that the design was going to be way too big for it. So I've improvised a little bit, and rather than restarting or doing anything different, this is my improvisation. So my original plan was to stitch a QR code and still have my name included in there, but it hasn't quite worked out the way that I'd like. So this is almost half of the QR code. I'd still have another square similar to this one that I'd need to stitch over here, plus a bit more of the orange and some of the other colours that I'd need, and then it would come down to about here. So what I'm going to do is have a little bit of purple in here and a darker green over here, and maybe a little bit more of the yellow. And I freestyled the name here, and as I'm looking through the camera, I might need to extend up the letter T a little bit for my name, but I think for much of the muchness, I'm happy with how it's all come about, where my aim with the colours was to use a lot of colours in my stash, and especially colours from old kits that I've had that I've got leftover threads and such. So that's the aim there. And to help put into context, it's actually going to fit pretty good. So this, yeah, it's actually showing that I'll be able to fit in fairly well to give context of what it's going to look like. And I'm actually pretty happy with how it's turned out. And I'm stitching this on 28 count even weave. I've been stitching 1/1, and it's got a little bit of variegated thread with my name, and variegated for the darker blue up here, and the rest is either DMC for the medium blue, and the green, yellow and orange is from the kit for the Bothy Threads kit that the Dictionary of Dogs came in. and I'm really happy with how the colours have come about. So if things have been a little bit different in terms of how I charted the QR code to make it smaller and fitting into the name tag size, that it would have been a lot more rainbow colours because I just wanted it to be colourful. And the QR code, if things had worked out well, when people use their phones and that to connect to it, it would actually take them to my YouTube channel, and it would just save a bit of time of telling people what my Flosstube channel is and all that jazz. So that was the idea behind the design, and what's to say that I can't do something similar later on down the track, where as I improve as a designer and that kind of thing, and my skills with resizing things get better, I'll eventually get to that point of being able to have that little mini QR code and all will be well. Anyway, that's what's been taking most of my time, and we'll get there. We will absolutely get there. So let's move on to the next project that I've been working on. Okay, now that we are in the month of August, I'm going to be doing my hardest to actually catch up on the 4, maybe 5, nearly 6 rounds of AFL that I have missed out on with my stitching. And I know that normally August for many stitches is arbitrary August, where I think it's normally been focusing on one piece. I'm going to have to look it up. I've actually had a bit of a mind blank on what arbitrary means. So it'll be okay. So I think for the most of August, it's going to be AFL August for me, at least in terms of catching up on what I'm doing. And to help put into context, I have a bit of a cheat sheet where I've calculated up most of the points that the winning teams have accumulated from round 16 through to round 21, which is the round that we're in at the moment. And I still need to add some of the points for some of the teams that I've got on the list here. And at the moment, Giants have just won the game that they played just now. They finished up maybe 5 minutes ago, and with that in mind, we'll get to it. Anyway, the first project that I have put some stitches in is Thief of Joy, and it's associated with the team Fremantle Dockers, and I've put 430 points into it. This is roughly what it'll look like when it's done. Also noting that Freo are playing at the moment. They're playing against Essendon by memory. They're in their first quarter as I'm filming, so who knows what the outcome of that game will be. I may need to add more stitches to Comparison is a Thief of Joy, or I might need to add some stitches to whatever project I've got associated with the Essendon Bombers. We'll get there. It'll be all right. So this is where I'm at so far, and where a lot of the 430 stitches went into is stitching most of this frame up here and then a part of the frame down here, because I was in the mode for stitching that colour, and I'm stitching this on 29 count even weave. I think it's the easy count kind of fabric, and I've never stitched on 29 count before. I didn't even know that kind of count existed. I have a sneeze brewing, so my apologies for any weird faces, weirder than normal, that I may be pulling. The sneeze has subsided for a moment, but this is where I'm at. More stitches may go into this, it may not. We'll have to wait and see for that. Now, the next piece that I have to share with you in terms of progress is, where are we? A mini stitch in time, and it is, where are we? It is based on artwork by Amy Stewart, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and this is roughly what it'll look like when it's done. And I initially put 398 stitches into this, and based on the Giants game that they've just won about 5 to 10 minutes ago, I'm going to need to put an extra 84 stitches into this. And I've been working mostly around this area here just to fill it in a bit more. I did do some stitches along here as well. So the 84 that I need to put in, I'm aiming to just fill in around this space here just to get a bit more of that section of bookshelf filled in, and I'll then aim to come down just a little bit more and start filling in the space here, noting that I may need to fudge it a little bit, because I remember when I was trying to be clever and trying to do a little bit more, not quite extreme cross country, but expand my notion of stitching more of one colour on a piece, I'm out by one stitch, so I'm going to need to fudge it at some point, but we'll get there. It'll be okay. Now, let's get into the next project. Now, this next project that I have to share with you, it's still a work in progress in the sense that I am this close to getting most of the stitches done for the last few rounds. I'm going to need to double check the AFL ladder and fixtures for this round, just to double check if the Brisbane Lions have won. I think Brisbane Lions are due to play tonight, so I think their game may start around 7:30. I'm probably not going to end up watching the game because I am feeling just super tired. With that in mind, I am stitching Fight Like a Girl, designed by Tanya Amity, based on artwork by, Elena Zhnedkova. And this is roughly what it'll look like when it's done. And I've been focusing a little bit on PP Longstocking. So I've been filling in a bit around where her socks are and a little bit of the blue background, and the aim is to move across to, I guess, get that part of the bookshelf all evened out, and it'll be nice when it's done. It'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. So with this piece, what have I been doing? Where am I? I am needing to put 382 stitches into it. So far I've put 198 into it, and I think if I did my calculations right, I still had like another 180 something to put into it. And I have been doing a bit of work on it today, and I've put 94 stitches into it today. So if I can put another X amount into it today after this recording, I'll hopefully have this one sorted out, with the hope that Brisbane Lions lose, so I don't need to put any extra in for this round at least. But we'll get there. It'll be okay. Okay, let's get into the next project. Okay, so the next lot of projects that I have to share with you are more to do with my plants, because I don't have any more stitching to actually share with you that I've done since we've last caught up. So the next project, when I can get my words, the next project that I have to share with you once I've finished putting some work into Fight Like a Girl is Trio of Dogs. And let's celebrate just for a little bit. I found the cover page for Trio of Dogs. So this is what Trio of Dogs will look like when it's done. And I will need, and I've just done some refreshed calculations, because Bulldogs won their game, or rather Western Bulldogs won their game this weekend. So from rounds 16 to 21, I need to put 562 stitches into Trio of Dogs, and I'm excited about that because that's going to be a huge amount of progress that this project needs. Where I'm starting to feel a little bit of dread as I think about it is the way the kit's been set up and how I've mucked myself over in terms of me trying to think a bit smarter or be a bit smarter about how I am using the threads that have come in the kit. And I really hope that I can make the most of what I've done with the improvements. And worst case scenario is that I may need to start comparing the threads that came in the kit with some of the threads that I've got in my stash, just to try and rejig how I'm doing this. And I'm fumbling with this and being cautious with what I'm saying right now because I'm I'm knowing that I have some threads that are missing. I've somehow cut things and done stuff, and I don't know where one of the threads are that I need for the stitching, and I'll get there. It'll be okay. Anyway, enough of fumbling and cautious wording talking about Trio of Dogs. The next project that I'll need to work on is the Gold Coast Suns, which is connected to the project Zebras. So it's those colourful rainbow zebras, and I'll find the project and share with you what I've done so far. Okay, this is the cover page for the Rainbow Zebras by Design Works, and I purchased the kit for zebras, so I'm using all of the called for threads, fabric, and all the rest, which means that this is being stitched on 14 count Ada, and this is where I'm at so far. And it's exciting that I'm now working on the lower half of the project. The thing that has actually surprised me a little bit with the Gold Coast Suns, I need to put 96 stitches into this, and they, as far as the AFL Challenge has been concerned in this year's fixture, they've got a new coach and they're definitely improving in strides and bounds, whatever the phrasing is for that showing of improvement. And they got really close to actually winning their game this round. So this is where it would have been good to have put more stitches into this piece, but 96 points is still nothing to be sneezed at. It's a good chunk of stitching. It's nearly 100 stitches, and if I am in the groove of stitching and all the rest, I may actually end up rounding it out to 100 stitches just to really help show that progress. So the next project that I'll need to do some work on is the Four Seasons Cats. And I know I am so close to getting this piece done. There are times where I really feel like abandoning it, but it's more because of my headspace and my thoughts around this piece rather than anything else. And it is something where I just need to get into that right headspace and encourage myself to go, come on, you are just so close. Come on, you can do this. Just get yourself over that finish line, and it'll be so well worth it when it's done, because the Geelong Cats are a strong team. They are they've been around for a while. They're a strong team. They've got really good players, which means that I need to put a minimum of 400. Actually, no, I take that back. So with rounds 16 to 20, I need to put 412 stitches into it. With round 21, so the round that we've just had, or we're just finishing off on, they won their game and their final score is 90 points. So if I'm doing the calculations right, it's going to be what, 502 points, I think? Bear with me for a moment. We'll get there. Maths is not my strong point. I fully acknowledge that. Yeah, 502 points. It's all good. It's all good. So without further ado, okay, so This is what Four Seasons Cats will look like when it's done. It is a Dimensions Gold Collection kit, a kit that I've had for longer than I care to remember. I, by memory, had purchased it when I had gone to a craft fair that was in Canberra and it was around the time when cross stitch was still pretty big for the craft fairs, where there were a lot of stalls that had cross stitch supplies or cross stitch kits, patterns, and it was absolutely awesome. And with Four Seasons Cats, I am at the quarter here, and this is the only quarter that I have left. So, to put into context, where are we? Bear with me, I will find the chart very soon. Cool, thank you for bearing with me on that one. This is where I'm at so far. So I'm using all of the cord 4 threads, fabric, and all that jazz. I'm stitching this on 18 count Ada, and the 502 stitches is going to take me nearly all week, I think, to get done. So by the time we next catch up, I may be partway through putting the 502 stitches in. It'll be worth it. I think part of where I'm feeling a bit about it is it's a dimensions kit. It really is a thing that I need to concentrate on. It's a dimensions kit. If anyone has stitched a dimensions kit, you may understand why I'm reacting the way that I am, and I just feel tired with it. The beauty with dimensions kits is the different number of strands that are involved with the project that gives it the uniqueness that it deserves. It ranges from one strand to three strands, combination of strands, and it can be worth it. We'll get there. It'll be okay. Now, the next project, where are we at? The next project is the Crows. So the Adelaide Crows, they've won a couple of games. I think they've also won one of their games this weekend too. I'll need to look that one up. I am going to be attributing his master's voice to this project. Rather, I am attributing his master's voice to the Adelaide Crows, which means that it will need a minimum of 280 stitches being put into it. And okay, so his Master's Voice Mini is based on artwork by Lisa Parker, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and this is roughly what it'll look like when it's done. And I've chosen to start in the middle with this piece, and it is going to be a really awesome one when it's done. I will be talking a lot about how much black there is with it, and that depending on my thoughts of the day, it may end up getting restarted because of how much black there is, and that I may start it on some black fabric like I have done with the Reader, which again is based on artwork by Lisa Parker and charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And this eventually will get a bit of love as well. I'm looking forward to doing more on this. When, I don't know, but it'll be worth it when I get there. The next project that I'll need to work on, I haven't noted down as to which project this one will be. So this one is connected with the which team Blues? Carlton Blues. Carlton, they're in the top 8, I think, still, and I'll need to double check if they won this round or not. Either way, whichever project it is that I'm going to be working on, I need to put a minimum of 107 stitches into that. The next project I'm actually looking forward to doing some work on is the hot cross stitching design called A Life Lived in Fear is a Life Half Lived. And it's based on a Spanish proverb. And this is roughly what it'll look like when it's done. And I really enjoy working on this when I have the opportunity, and it is going to be cool. It'll be absolutely awesome. So that chart's available for purchase on the Hot Cross Stitching website. Details and everything of the projects will be in the description box below. I will need to put a minimum of 227 stitches into the piece. I'll probably end up putting more stitches into it because I just love stitching on it. There's just something about it that I'm loving, seeing the creation, I guess a little bit of the creation of the butterfly appearing on the fabric. I'm stitching it on 18 count 8, and it's a huge chunk of fabric. Now, the Hawks were playing against the Giants today, and they sadly lost by 2 points. It was a really close game. Hawthorn were winning and dominating for majority of the game, yet the Giants were able to come back and win it. So that was a really good thing to see. And the Giants were playing at my hometown in Canberra, and that was pretty cool. It was nice to see that the weather in Canberra was looking nice for a winter day, because I know a lot of people grumble a bit about how cold it can get in Canberra, and admittedly it does get cold during winter, but you can also have some of those beautiful days where it might only have a maximum temperature of 14 degrees Celsius, but it'll be sunny, it won't be much wind, and if you get into that nice sheltered spot in the sun, it's just glorious. It really is wonderful. That's it. The next piece that I have to share with you, and I'm feeling annoyed with this. I'm disappointed that I'm not able to put more work into it. I mean, I could, but as we're starting to see, I've got so many other projects that I need to put time into to try and catch up on all the stitching. So I'll go grab the project and details and such, and we'll have a chat about it. Okay, the next project that I'll need to work on is Pelicans, which is being designed by Country Threads. So this will be the Pelicans project that I'll be putting some time into. And sadly, I'm only putting 138 stitches into it. I'm saying sadly because I have been attributing this project to the Sydney Swans, and they are still at the top of the ladder, but I think they're there by the skin of their teeth now. They have they played this weekend down in Adelaide, playing against Port Adelaide Power, and Swans had their asses handed to them. There was, by the end of the game, there was a 112 point difference between the winning team and the losing team. Port Adelaide won by 148 points. The Swans, I think, scored 32 points or thereabouts. At half time, when my boyfriend and I were checking the progress of the scores and that, by half time, Adelaide had scored like 52 or 56 points or something like that. Swans hadn't scored anything. And it's like, guys, are you sure you should be at the top of the ladder right now? It was awful. It was horrible. And it's like, guys, come on, get your act together. We are getting so close to the end of the season, and you guys can't afford to lose any more games. You've got about not five, you've got at least 10 other teams chomping at the bit that are going to be able to easily overtake. And that's where it was just disappointing that they had their asses handed to them, and it's the second time that they've lost so badly. And I appreciate that they are tired, that they have been playing against some tough teams, and I am being told that it's probably good that they're having their hiccup and rough patch now rather than when they get into finals, because when it's finals time in the AFL, it's the top 8 teams that are playing against each other to eventually get in and be in the grand final. And for the lower 4 teams of the top 8, it's sudden death in the sense that let's say the Swans came in 8th, and then playing in finals, they might play against a team that came, say, 6th. And if Swans lose against the team that came 6th, Swans are then out of finals, and that's it for the season. But with Swans being top of the ladder right now, and if they can stay at least in the top 4 come finals, they get a second chance in the sense that they get to have a rest for starters. They then have a home preliminary final, and regardless of whether they win or lose that one, they still get to play another game just to see if they can get into semi-finals, quarterfinals, however that all works. I'm still learning to get my head around that component of things. But if I just use their recent form to go by anything, they're not going to make the grand final. They are going to completely bomb out in finals, and it'll be 2 Melbourne teams that end up playing the grand final. So yeah, I hope I haven't put the mockers on them and that they can prove me wrong. I really hope that's the case, because it would just be so awesome to see 2 non-Victorian based teams in the grand final, just to irk a lot of the hardcore AFL fans. But hey, that's just me. Let's get back to the cross stitching, because ultimately that's what we're here for. Now, the next project that I have to share with you that I need to put some work into is still pending the outcome of a game that's being played right now, and it's the Essendon Bombers. So at the moment, I need to put a minimum of 92 stitches into Trick or Treat 2, which is designed by Randall Spangler, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And this is roughly what it will look like when it's done. And at the moment, I've got it floating around somewhere. I'm stitching it on 18 count Aida at the moment, and I may eventually stitch it again, but on the recommended 25 count fabric, and actually properly using the chart that has been done by Heaven and Earth Designs. So that could be pretty cool, just to have the comparison side by side, because yeah, it's all good. I won't go any more into that. Now, the next piece that I'll need to put some work into, I've got the cover page kind of behind me over there. It's a piece called Pisces, and it's a chart that I'm just doing for myself, and I've got associated with Port Adelaide because of the teals and the team colours and such that are in that. And with their recent win, I'm going to need to put, what is it? I'm going to need to put 329 stitches into it, and I'm looking forward to that, because if I had the actual stitching with me, I'll be able to show that I'm putting some work into some of the fish, and because I've gotten bored of stitching the Pisces symbol at the moment, and I'll probably do a little bit more work on, or more stitching on, the actual quote that is in the center as well, where by memory it says Pisces. Not everyone gets the same version of me. Some people will tell you I'm a beautiful soul. Others will tell you I'm a cold-hearted asshole. Believe both. I act accordingly. And I think at the moment I'm liking that quote. Depending on how my mood is for the day, it changes a little bit. Some days I feel a little bit embarrassed by it. Other days it's like, yep, okay, it is what it is. It's cool. It'll be all right. The next piece that I'll need to do some work on will be one that I haven't noted down yet in my notes, but it'll be somehow connected with St Kilda Saints, and I'll need to double check if they were actually, I think Saints are playing tonight, potentially. Either way, I'm going to need to double check the fixture to get my updates and such sorted out. Either way, I'm going to need to put a minimum of 305 stitches into a project, one of the projects. It might actually end up being the one up here, which is the quote of, I count my lucky stars every day that you are in my life, and I'm at the stage of stitching the border. So that one is actually going to be a really easy stitch to put the 305 into. Now the Demons, Melbourne Demons have actually been surprising a bit, where they've been a bit this particular season. So I'm going to need to put 196 stitches into. Actually, if I'm thinking correctly, I might need to put 196 into the reader. So that will actually be pretty cool. I know that they did lose their game this round, so yeah, 196. It'll be okay. The next piece that I'll need to work on after the Demons one, the reader, I will need to put 93 stitches plus 84 stitches into the hot cross stitching black and white rolled up daisy. So I'll need to put nearly 200 stitches into this, and I do get excited about seeing that when I'm filming, because I can start to see the petals coming to life. I can actually really see that it's going to be worth it, and that will be good to get that done. Now the next two teams have surprised me, where West Coast Eagles and North Melbourne Kangaroos, they've won their games this round. That is like, oh my god, guys, what are you doing? Now they are far from being able to win a flag this season. It's probably going to be several seasons before they're chomping at the bit for the top 8, but I'll need to put 97 and 90 stitches respectively into some projects. I'll get there. I know that with one of the projects, I will be putting some stitches into Inner Works of Life, which is based on artwork by Stephanie Law, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. So that's the project that actually hasn't seen much love, because North Melbourne suck. North Melbourne, yeah, they're probably sitting 17th on the ladder out of 18 teams. So yeah, they suck. They will get better, I'm sure. I have no doubt, just not this season. West Coast Eagles, I'm sure I will figure out which project. I think with one of the teams I'm going to be putting some work into another Stephanie Law piece. No, Julie Fain, sorry. So this one will be Moonlit Waters, based on artwork by Julie Fain, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. So I think this piece might get a bit of love as well. That will be good. I am reluctant to put a bit of work into it, because I'm having to fudge a bit of the fairies' wings. It'll be alright. It'll be worth it. So that if you have stuck around with me for this long, especially with all my tired rambling and everything, thank you. Thank you so much. And especially if it means that if I actually gain some subscribers as well, that would be absolutely awesome. So if by chance you have stuck around for this long, I would love it if you could please like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. If you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, I would love to hear about them. So if you could drop me a line in the comments of this video, or any kind of emoji just to show that you've watched this video, that would be fantastic. So just a little bit more of a life update, because I know that I've dropped snippets of life updates throughout this episode. So yesterday I made an attempt to go for a run. It was more of a walk than a run. It was meant to be a long run where I think I was meant to do like a minimum of 8 to 9 Ks, and in whatever time I was able to get it done in. So I've been following this plan based on, I wear a Garmin watch, and with the app that it talks to on my phone, I have the option of doing training plans or running plans through it. And because I'm slowly coming back from injury and muscle soreness and that kind of thing, I'm following a plan that is based on a registered trademark, whatever the special wording is, of the run walk method. And it means that I try to find a balance between the amount of running and walking that I do, with the aim of actually running more than I do walking. And with the session that I did yesterday, it did end up being more walking than running, mostly because of the path that I took. It was quite hilly, and for a good part of the trail path, whatever it was that I took, I didn't feel safe running on it because it was more suitable for either walking, or if I was on like a push bike or something like that, that would have been more suitable. But there were other parts of the path that I took that were concrete, so it was a little bit easier for running, but it was also hilly, and I'm needing to build my strength up again, and fitness especially, my fitness for hills. And where I was going for this run/walk was down at Malure Bay, travelling between Malure Bay and Surf Beach, sort of bit where the border of Surf Beach and Lillipilly meet. So if anyone knows that area at least a little bit, you'll be able to appreciate just how hilly that is, and that I don't like hills. I would rather do hills before I run in the wind, and I would rather run in the wind before I run cross country, because I grew up on a farm and that was the only option that I had if I wanted to walk anywhere or do any kind of fitness. It was walking through paddocks that half of them had been ploughed up, so the ground is uneven and it is what it is. And I would rather do any of the above before I run on the sand or walk on the sand. It is just hard work. So that is my perspective when it comes to all those sorts of things. And I know that running's not for everyone, and we're all on a different journey for fitness and that kind of thing. So whatever works for you, all the power to you. And we can all commiserate with each other about exercise and how much it can suck, but how much better we can feel for it afterwards. That said, my body and people around me will probably beg to differ in the sense that my muscles felt really sore after the walk/trail jog run that I did yesterday, because a part of my problem at the moment is that I don't stretch properly before and after my exercise, especially when it's a longer bout of exercise like I did yesterday. So that meant that yesterday I was hobbling around a lot more than what I probably should have been, where my feet just felt really sore to walk on. It was the muscles in my feet, especially along like the base of my feet. They just felt really tight. And the house that I was staying in yesterday as well, or over the last couple of days, has a lot of stairs. So I've got to be strategic about where I'm going, what I'm doing, and where I need to go for different things, so I can actually make the most of being on whatever floor it is that I'm on at the time. And hey, it was nice to have that change of scenery, and I feel blessed that I have that luxury of being able to have a holiday home that I can go to free of charge at any point in time that I feel like. So this is just me feeling sorry for myself when it comes to muscles and soreness. And I did get to have a Radox bath. I haven't had a Radox bath for what feels like a very long time. So I'm glad that I got to do that, because I don't have a bath where I am at the moment. And today I am walking around a lot better than what I was yesterday. My muscle soreness has changed from my feet. My feet are still a little bit sore, but it's now the outer thighs. So the muscles, especially between my outer hips and the outside of my knees, so the IT bands, they're feeling particularly sore, and my calf muscles and the shins are feeling a little bit sore as well, partly because of the terrain that I was walking on as well. So we'll get there. It's okay. The other bit of life stuff was that one of the good things with being down at the coast was that we got to spot a seal when we were overlooking some of the cliff tops. My boyfriend noticed it initially, that there was a seal hunting some fish or squid or whatever it is that they enjoy eating down near the rocks there. So that was really cool to see. And then he also spotted out in the distance near the horizon some spurts of water from the whales that are still migrating north to the warmer waters. So that was pretty cool too, being able to see that. And my boyfriend had also mentioned that he'd seen some dolphins, and I feel like there was some other wildlife as well. That deer. That's right. It wasn't at the coast, but when we were coming back today, we're at Wollongong, driving to where we are now, and we had to go over a bridge that crosses over some railway lines. And from my teammates, I've heard them talk about there being wild deer around the place, and I've just never actually seen them. Or I've potentially seen pictures of the deer that my teammates have taken. So I was like, okay, yeah, but that's sort of in some of the suburban areas that they've heard of. And it was actually, I think there might have been about three or so deer that I saw. They were just grazing near the train tracks, and I was like, oh my god, I just hadn't expected to see them. So that had been pretty cool. And I think that's about it. So ultimately, there's going to be lots and lots of stitching going on. And I really feel like I need to have an early night tonight. I'm looking forward to getting a really good night's sleep. I need to drink some more water, because yesterday, I think especially, I didn't drink enough water. I think that also had a really big influence on not being able to, not sleeping as well as what I could have last night.
I know I did drink one alcoholic cider as well that I know can have an influence on my sleep. But it was a good night. It was really good to go out to dinner with some of my family, and it was good. It was really good. So I will catch you all later. I'll stop rambling on. I hope you all have a great fortnight, and I hope to see you all again soon. See ya.